Hi guys, I'm Chloe, the Salon CEO. Today I'm talking to Em from Emily Jane Hair. We're going to be talking all things hair extension industry. So, Emily, I feel like we've probably known each other for like
15 years,
honestly,
but never met.
That is it. And do you know what? This is what I absolutely love, the fact that we've always spoken online, we've always asked each other things over the years, we've related to things, and now we're actually speaking in person.
Supported each other through lockdown.
Yeah, oh my God, I know that was crazy. Those videos
times.
that we used to film. Okay, so what I want everyone to know is, how did you start out, and where did you go from?
So I started about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I was a graphic designer student living in London. It was so expensive living in London.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I felt a bit lost. I was in this industry where my creative vision just wasn't working for other people's creative vision.
Yeah, of course.
And working in the corporate world was tough. Working with designs that I weren't fully in love with and companies I weren't fully in love with was tough. And I just needed to find something to have like a bit of a me time, a bit of a creative freedom. And funnily enough, we've got a family friend who's a very successful hair integration woman and hair extensionist in the industry. And she has salons all over the world.
Oh, wow.
And she kind of inspired me to do hair extensions. The way she talked about how it made people feel, how it boosted women's confidence. I was like, I want a bit of that. I don't want to work around people that just constantly make me feel small. I need that creative freedom. I don't like being told what to do. I don't want to be told to come in at a certain time. I'm stubborn. I like to work at my own pace. So I just decided to do it. And do you know what? I did it as a hobby on the side. And once I started doing a bit of like friends' hair and people in my town's hair, then it spread. Everyone started talking about it. And I started getting really busy where I had to keep coming back from London and doing hair in my mum's dining room. And I just remember thinking, I love this so much compared to what I'm doing in London. And I'm so homesick. And actually, maybe this is just a sign that I'm not cut out for the corporate world. And I do need to constantly be busy and constantly be doing something that keeps my mind busy. And I just decided to go for it, and it was the best decision I ever made.
I love that. So you didn't actually do any hairdressing?
Yes.
Okay.
So before I went to, sorry, I missed that bit. Before I went to uni, I worked in Tony & Guy, and I worked in 2 other salons, and I did an apprenticeship of hairdressing. I found it was quite a toxic industry at the time, but I think it was because I was very young and I was easily bossed around. I was easily made to like make loads of teas and coffees, and I thought, I don't want to do this. I don't want to make teas and coffees and sweep all the time. That's so true, because
I feel like so many young girls that come into the industry now, they don't want to do that bit.
No.
And I get it, like it is very known in the industry that you start off small and then you obviously you get where you want to be. But a lot of girls quit because they can never get past that first stage, which is actually so
I did all the training, and I think I was just scared. I think I was a bit too young to work with the general public because there are so many different types of people that walk through that door. And I wasn't confident enough to deal with that. So I kind of just left it. I was also forced into working by my mum, and she was just like, you need to go and work at the salon or something and get me some free haircuts, because then
why do mums do that? They literally do that.
I've got you a job at the florist. Brilliant.
I think my mum was like, the age 10 I was dyeing her roots, and she was like, you will be a hairdresser. Thanks mum for free hair for life.
So I just and then I lived with my dad, and he was like, oh, you're so good at art, maybe you should be a graphic designer. So I was like, okay. So then I did what my dad wanted, and I did this life, and I'm glad I did it, because it's enabled me to do my website designs, to do my marketing and all that kind of stuff. And I worked in the corporate world a little bit, and I learned a lot of my life's skills for now. So I am grateful, not grateful for my student loan, but I'm grateful for everything that I've learned along the way.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely.
And it is such a journey, isn't it? Like when you obviously first start out, like you are literally figuring, there wasn't like there is now. Like there's so many, obviously, as we know, like there's so many online courses, there's so much free stuff you can find. You're always doing better. But I feel like, I know when I first started, I was like, there's nothing like this. There's nothing to tell you what is right. Like when I went on a course, I think it was, whatever year it was, like years ago, And the way I was taught was just like, I was like, this is not right. Things are falling out. Things aren't happening. So I think now we're in our industry, we're so lucky that there's so many people who are like teaching so much better practice, and
100%.
not just like, there's so many options that people have, you know, rather than just going.
They tailor it. It's bespoke learning.
100%.
Never had that back then.
No, definitely
I didn't even
not.
have a contact number to call or message anyone if I needed help. I was fully on my own, thrown in the deep end.
And I think that's what's so nice about the industry now, that there is so much support. Like, you know, any girls that train with, probably you and myself, you know, I've got a group chat. I'm like, girls, just ask me anything. You know, it's one of those things that because you know what it's like. There was no support out there at the time.
Nothing.
So when you first started, did you, like, in your hair extension journey, did you just do it for yourself? Did you work with anyone? And if you did just work for yourself, how did you build up that client base? And have you got any new tips for like stylists or whatever they can do, obviously listening to this?
Yeah. So I actually worked for myself from the get-go. And I found it really tough to keep the morale up.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to put the work in, and that's not even a sales pitch. That is like facts.
Reality.
When you start a business, you have to be like a fly in a bedroom when you're trying to sleep. You need to like annoy everyone online. You need to be seen. You need to be heard. You need to be posting every day. Even if you don't have content, find it. You have to just be seen all the time.
And that is so true, because I feel like these days, like, people talk a lot about like imposter syndrome, you know, and no one is going to love your business like you love your business. You know, it's one of those things that people think, oh, I can't post that, like, you know, or they'll think that didn't work that well. I'm like, but you need to do it again, because it's only you stopping what you did. You know, is you thinking, oh, I can't post it again, but you can, like you say, you're never going to get anywhere if you don't keep going at what you're doing. So how did you then obviously go from there?
So I found the first thing that I worried about, because I was still quite young, it's all about image. It's all about what people think of you. It's all about, are they going to think that I'm doing the wrong thing? Are they going to think that this is just like a phase, or like a thing, you know, just something random?
She'll try it and then it won't go anywhere,
it's just going to flop. And I was so scared, because I was like, I've got myself out there. People are going to be watching to see if I've got booked. And I wish I didn't bully myself that hard at that time, and I wish I just got on with it. And I just believed in myself more. And there would be times where I would really think, I can't do this. I'm not getting any messages. I'm literally just posting to a brick wall. It wasn't Instagram back then, it was Facebook. I was huge on Facebook.
Same.
And I would I would just message everywhere, but I would do collabs. I started thinking about who could compliment me as a business.
Of course.
So I'd look at a local beautician or an aesthetics person, see if I can run something with them. The other thing that I did is I hired a chair in a salon for a little while, just to get seen while people were getting their hair dyed, watching what I was doing, thinking, what's she doing over there? I want to ask. And I got lots of clients that way as well.
That's really good.
Having a partnership with a brand at the beginning so they can share your work. But it's hard. And it's having small goals. You will not be fully booked earning 15K a month in the first 5 years. If anyone tells you that, they are lying. And you can promote that, because that is a goal you can have.
Of course.
But, you know, it is amazing money, and it's amazing for your mental well-being, being around all these women and talking about things that you're passionate about. But you've got to give yourself small goals. And my goals were 5 new clients a month. Or like 1 a week. As long as I can get that 1 a week, I'll be happy. And I did, and it started making me feel better, because I was like, I need 50 clients.
You just start like believing in yourself, and that's it. It's like step by step, and also it's a lot of it is mindset. Like 100%. You know, if you don't have the right mindset to keep pushing through, like, you know, over the years, I'm sure you've had lots of different challenges and things that have come in the way. But if you don't get it over in mindset, then you just won't ever get past it. Would you say that you've got any like massive challenges that you've got over? And if you have, then how did you overcome them?
I wouldn't say big challenges. I've had sculpting challenges. So like things that have sculpted me as a business person that I am today. One thing I always think about is when I was young and I first started, I was like in my early 20s, like 18, and I focused too much about what other people were doing. And I didn't focus about what I was doing. And I was getting so caught up in what other people were doing that it was like eating me up. And I was thinking, well, why aren't I doing that? Maybe I should do that. And I was just like a ping pong in a microwave. And I just couldn't get my goals straight. And I wish I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it grew me to the person I am now because it made me very competitive. It made me want more. But it didn't do my mental health any good.
No.
And it did give me imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
But I've learned from it. But what I would say now, like I do to my students, is don't worry about what the people are doing around you.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you're a completely different person.
Yep.
And if someone slates you, don't write an indirect status about them.
And that's it. And it's on them.
Run your business. Just,
and that is it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's actually crazy because I feel like in this industry can be so negative.
Yeah.
But also people that
it's women. It's thousands of women doing the same thing. But we all love the same thing. So actually we all get on.
And that's the thing. Like I've always said to people, like, you know, there's obviously local competition. There's, you know, it doesn't matter. There's enough clients for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, someone will love what they do. Someone might really like what they do. It doesn't really matter. Like there's enough room for everyone. I think as well, like with hair extensions over the years, they've become bigger and bigger. So like people might think, oh, I can't train in hair extensions. I just work in like a village salon, whatever. But lots of my clients now are like 40, 50-year-olds getting hair extensions, but you wouldn't think it. So they're so common now. But no, you're so right in what you say, because I think we've all been very guilty of, oh, look what they're doing, you know, and it's really best to like, even though it's nice to see people doing well and being inspiring, it's like, what is good for you? You know, I think over the years, you probably feel the same, where you just work out like really what are your life goals, your values, and what do you actually want? Because sometimes I think, you know, people want, you know, the following, or they want the, you know, I think people get so caught up in Instagram and how many followers they have, and actually it's not even about that.
I used to celebrate that, and now I don't, because I found it could be quite toxic. Yeah. You know, I remember when I hit like 10k followers or something, and I was just like, oh my God, I've hit 10k, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I remember like a local girl messaged me and saying, I wish I could hit that number. I'm doing everything I can and I'm just not getting there. And I felt like, why have I just done that? I feel like I'm just like gloating. And obviously internally, I'm like, I want to reach the next goal. But that's really sad that we're comparing ourselves to numbers, because I wouldn't want my son to do that.
No, that's
yet
it.
I'm letting it affect me. And I still do it to this day. Like I'll spend an hour on a reel, and I'll be like, that's going to be banging. That's going to go viral.
Oh my God, I know.
It's going to be on the news. And then literally there'll be like 200 views. And I'll be like, what's just happened?
I know. And it's crazy, isn't it? Because I can spend like 2 hours on a bit of content and I'm like, it's going to be amazing. And then it flops.
But it didn't have that on Facebook. We didn't have views or likes.
I know. It's mad. It's actually crazy as well. Like over the years, like now, you probably feel the same with like, it really is about like standing out in the industry and being, you know, like what can you give more than whatever it used to be? Like the days of before and after photos are gone now. And this is what I say to my students. I always say to them, like, you are who you are, so you need to show that in your like branding. And you know, it's so much more now than just you can do everything. Like, you know, you can do a great set of hair, but it doesn't always go that well on Instagram. You think, why not? It's an amazing set of hair. You should be so proud of that. But unfortunately, these days it's just about so much more than that. Yeah, you know, that's the trouble.
It's marketing. It's not. Yeah. It's not marketing that product anymore. No, it's always marketing yourself as a brand.
That's it.
And it's the pressures of that. You know, my videos that have gone viral are ones that actually I'm not that into. Yeah. It's like a bad haircut that I'll show if you don't put your hair down straight or whatever. Yeah. Or like the application of a tiny little bond. It's like, well, actually, I have created some banging hair, and that doesn't. It doesn't work and it's such a shame.
It's just crazy.
When you do get that skill set of becoming an extensionist, you also need to have a skill set of being a salesperson, a marketer, someone that can get your word out there 100%. In the weirdest ways. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like, actually, I don't want to do that. If I'm going to post a picture of some hair I've done and it's got 500 or 1,000 views or whatever, I don't care. Whatever. I love it. It looks great. And my next client's going to look at it and think that's banging. I'm going to book in with her.
And that's the thing, you know, like followers doesn't equal sales at all. Yeah. And that's the thing. I think people get so caught up on how many followers and what engagement they're getting on Instagram. Yeah. But actually, there's so many people that are watching your stuff who you never even spoken to. Yeah, yeah. But they know they're going to book in with you because you do an amazing job. Yeah. But you'll never know that person because they've never contacted you yet. So it is actually crazy how these days, like I said, everyone just gets so caught up on followers, views, you know, what is trending, and actually it doesn't need to be like that.
I think it's pinpointing two things, whether you want to be viral or whether you want to be an educator of your trade or you want to be a specialist of your trade. Exactly. Because you can't do both.
No, that's it.
specifically, because you could go viral, but then people that go viral, they end up having to do other things that don't really like
align with
what they do.
100%.
So it's whether you want to promote your brand or you as a brand.
That's it.
And that's where people get confused, and they don't really know which venture to go down.
100%.
And I've been subject to that many times.
100%. I think we're all just trying to like navigate to where we do sit, and I think when you know where you sit in the industry, you know, like you say, a specialist, an educator, because you've been doing it for so long. When you get to that point, you know, it's only, I suppose, for us to actually pass it on to our students and be like, this is where you need to be now, and then obviously in time. But I think again, it's just so important for people not to get caught up in that whole, I haven't got followers. You know, if you're getting bookings and you're getting people inquiring, you're winning all day long, 100%. So I feel like there's another thing in the industry, obviously talking about work-life balance. So you've got a little boy. I feel like our two little ones are probably about the same age.
Literally by days, I think, or weeks. 14th of August.
Oh, okay. So Liv is 25th of August. So is he 3?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's mad. Okay, so how did you find, obviously maternity-wise, what did you do with that? Obviously, I know that Jo covered for a little bit, didn't she?
Yeah.
So how did that go?
We're really lucky, Jo and I, because when we've both had babies, we've just covered and the business has just gone
so nice.
Fine.
Yeah.
It was tough because it was lockdown. So he was like, just come out of lockdown.
Yeah.
And I was itching to get back to work.
Yeah.
And I think I got back to work for like 2 months, and then I was off on maternity leave.
Yeah.
And it was hard because I'd created this baby, like my business.
Of course.
And then I had this new baby.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be the best mum that I could be. But I was very lucky where I just trusted Jo to just get on with it.
Of course.
And she just ran it perfectly for us. But it was hard. I had to go back way too early than I wanted. I went back teaching at 4 months and clients at 5-6 months.
Yeah.
And I just felt like a mum ripped away from her baby. It was one of the hardest things.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Horrendous.
Like,
I would, in between clients, literally stand in the staff room crying because I missed him, and I felt like I wanted to go and feed him, or you know, like I know his first steps were in nursery. That killed me. It absolutely killed me.
Yeah.
But I know it's because I was trying. I was creating a life for him.
For him, and that's it. It's like I think it's a thing that you have all the time. Like you know, I was really lucky after I had Liv, I had probably about a year off. Even though I was doing other things, I took a year out of the salon, and then when I had Sophia, I had 3 weeks off. And I was like,
crazy.
Which is crazy, but I think from where I learned from the first time not to have so much time off and things take a dip, and then you're like, oh my God, actually, this is my business. Like, I need to not let it slip again. So obviously me stepping out before things had happened. So I was like, right, I really need to step back in. So I think having her, I was like, right, I'm back in the chair. Luckily, obviously, we both have our setups at home, so it's not as bad, but it's still the fact that you know that they're there, and you just have this continuous like guilt of like, you know, I want to be with you, but then also I have that real pain of like, I actually want to spend the day with you, but I also need to bring home the money to then be able to provide for you to things that you can have. So I get that it's completely like, and I think these days as well, like it is such a thing where, you know, women do sometimes maybe shy away from the whole kid situation. I know what I did when I was younger, because you think, how can I, you know, what can I do with my business in that time? A client's going to go other places. And, you know, I had a few girls like years ago who went off and had children, and then they sent all their clients to me, and then a lot of clients stayed, which is awful for them. But it's like, well, they had no one else to like obviously give their clients to. So for them, they're having to then rebuild again. That's the trouble when you do luckily enough you had Jo, but when you have so much time off, you think, how am I going to start from scratch? And it's just one of those really scary things.
Jo and I actually started up this because of that reason, offering local extensionists and our students maternity cover. So what we would do is we would pre-plan for example, we've done maternity cover now for 2 local hair extensionists, where we have like a verbal contract where when you come back, they are yours. We will give them back, but we will look after them so they don't go elsewhere and they're not going to come back.
That's really nice.
And we did that for 2 students of mine. and actually I've done it for 3 students of mine, and as long as we just get notice, and you know, when you find out you're pregnant, you've got like that 9 months.
Of course.
So we had 9 months to
Prep
not accept new clients at a certain stage,
Yeah.
and then build up and cover their clients, and then they gave us 2 months notice, and we did that. So I think anyone that's on their own, find a local extensionist bestie or someone that you can trust. Definitely. And just talk to them girl to girl and just say, this is my fear.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility of you doing this for me?
You know
it's great for them.
That's so nice. Yeah, because then they know that they'll have their clients back, and then that's it, you know. Cause
it's a nice little boost for that other business who doesn't have to worry about looking for new clients.
Yeah.
Obviously there is risks of someone not giving clients back.
Of course.
You know, when we have done the cover, there have been 1 or 2 clients that haven't wanted to go back.
Yeah.
Not for like negative reasons, but maybe because we're closer.
Like suit them.
And we're just honest. We'll say, look, this
it.
person has said that they don't want to come back for this reason. What do you want me to do? And normally they're like, do you know what? Let them stay.
Of course.
And then in my mind, I think, well, actually, I do have someone that's just messaged me who's in like the Reading area. I'll send her to you.
Yeah.
So it's just having that kind of that respect of your local businesses as well.
That's actually so lovely. Like, I don't feel like, and I feel like in the industry, there's, you know, you should actually probably talk about that more, because I feel like as a woman, and when you have your babies, you think, oh my God, I'm actually, you know, across the board in any industry, you're going to think, what, you know,
you're
what
alone.
are you going to do? Yeah. And that's actually such a nice idea.
And being a mum, you get that. And you don't, you know, there's being a business mind, and there's being like a competitor and things like that. But then there's also being human. And I think it pays off in the long run.
Yeah.
Because I now know that I have some really supportive, lovely other extensions in our area that we've supported. And if anything happened to us, then they would support us as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's so lovely. Have you ever, is there like a moment you can think of that you've ever had like the best piece of advice from someone that you've always like remembered?
Yeah, my dad. Funnily enough, my dad always gave me like the best advice. First thing that he said to me was, if you want good quality clients, you need a good quality product. If you want poor quality clients, you have a poor quality product. And I remember when I first started doing hair extensions, I thought, I want to be affordable for everyone, because I was a student at the time and I couldn't afford extensions. So I thought, I want to find a brand that's affordable.
Of course.
And I found a brand, no names, and it was very cheap. And I thought, oh, it looks great. Again, I wasn't educated on any brands.
No.
And I thought, this is perfect to get all types of clientele.
Of course.
Biggest mistake that I ever made, because I did have all types of clientele coming in, and people wanted everything for nothing.
Yeah.
And I just remember saying to my dad, I don't want to do this anymore. I keep getting complaints about the hair. I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah.
And he was like, you need to up your product. You need to get a better quality product. You've obviously got a terrible product.
It's one of them really hard things, isn't it? Because when you do first start and you think, right, okay, well, I just need to get people at the door here.
Yeah.
So, you know, you want to perfect your skill. You want to be able to like practice. You also want to obviously use something that you think is good. But then you think, okay, well, where do I go here? So I know what it's like. Like when you first start, you think, oh, okay, well, I'll use that. And then you attract the wrong client. And I think we've all been there where we've had like the wrong client, and you have that battle of holding out for the right client with the right market. But then I think you probably know now that they just come, you know, like when you have faith in what you do, like they just come. And then when you get the clients that you love, you just think like, you know, you think, oh my God, don't ever leave, because you just, you know, they're like friends, aren't they?
Oh yeah, I've had some clients that I've had literally for the whole 15 years, and they've not gone anywhere, and I'm like, I can't get rid of them.
It's so nice though. Have you ever had like a real good regular of yours, like go off somewhere else? And if they have, would you ever like take that personally? Because I know when people maybe not returned after a certain amount of time, it's so hard not to take it personally, you know?
I used to, I don't anymore.
Yeah.
I used to massively, but years ago, I really don't anymore, because I know that it's 9 times out of 10, it's not me. It really isn't. It's a circumstances thing. And now it is a circumstances thing, because I work less hours in the salon because I do more education.
Of course.
And same with Joe, you know, we're mums. We're not going to be working evenings and weekends.
Of course, yeah.
So I don't take it personally at all. I wish clients were more transparent sometimes in terms of just tell me the truth.
It'd be nice to just have that feedback, wouldn't it? Like, I think if people, I've actually had some people in the past say, oh, Chloe, like, I'm not going to come back, I'm moving, but thank you so much, or this has happened, or like, we don't work weekends, so like, they need a Saturday appointment. I'm like, thanks for like, I love that, you know, because I think sometimes you'd rather people just be honest with you and just say, like, I'm not happy with this or that, because I feel like if people ever said to you something was wrong that they're not happy with, you would 100% fix it.
Yeah.
You know? And I think like, I've always been like that with my clients, like, if you're not happy about something, or even my students, like, you just tell me and we'll go over it. You know, it's not, I think you'd only ever really learn through that, you know?
And it's all about good customer care.
100%.
You know, I will never, ever leave someone on red. I'm horrendous. All my friends and family know this. I message straight away, no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah, oh my God, same.
Because I want to give them that customer service, whether that's an educator or a client. And my clients joke, they're like, if you haven't replied, I think you're dead, because you literally are just on the ball. Because I want to deal with it. I want to get it done. If there's a problem, if someone's got knotty hair or something, I'm like, come in tomorrow. Like, come in as soon as possible. I want to deal with this. Don't let them fester.
But then I think they appreciate that as well, don't they?
Yeah, and we're women, you know, the longer you're left to fester, the crazier you go. So I'm just like, listen, come in tomorrow, let's sort it. And it's normally the easiest thing. It's like, you're using too much oil, your cuticles are clogged up. Go home, clarify it, it'll be fine. They'll message me and be like, oh my God, thank you so much, I've clarified it, it's so smooth again. Done.
And I think they just appreciate that, don't they?
I'm not anxious as a stylist then, because it's dealt with.
Of course,
They're not disappointed in the product. And it's just the best way to deal with business. And it's just that is the part of business. You will never have it smooth sailing.
No, you never do it. You know, anyone that ever says that they do is, well, what are they doing?
Literally.
Because I think at the end of the day, we're all just figuring out things bit by bit, you know, no matter where you are in your career, you know, if you're day done, or even if you've been doing it years. Like, I don't know about you, but when I first went down the educational route, I was very much like, can I teach this? Like, even though I've been doing it for years, I'm like, can I teach this? Do I have the faith in myself to teach people the same thing that I've known? And I don't know about you, but when I got to the point of teaching, I was like, well, I don't get any complaints, and I'm pretty like, I think I've been doing it long enough, and all those sort of things. So how did you know when you first started teaching, like, that was the point for you? Because you've been doing it quite a while. Yeah,
I've been teaching for 8-9 years now. I started teaching because I kept getting messages from local salons saying, do you teach? And I was just thinking, no, I don't. Stop saying that. And they just kept messaging, and I think it was actually Jo who, when we were going through it, she's like, you're a good teacher. And I was just like, oh, thanks. And then I looked into it and I thought, oh, maybe I could teach, because I do love teaching. And I want to offer that experience of someone investing in me as their mentor to basically skip all the mistakes that I made and the thousands of pounds that I spent and wasted.
That's it.
And fast track it. You know, there's so many courses out there where it's just like 10 people in a room, you learn one row at a time, and you're out the next day, and there's no contact number, nothing, no mentorship. And those people left more confused than they were when they arrived. And yes, that course was 300 quid or 400 quid, it's more affordable, but it's those people that messaged me to then book onto my course, so that they've wasted double the amount of money.
I think we've probably had this conversation before, like, you know, sort of people that do go on like big courses with maybe like big brand names, and they're like, oh, okay, amazing. They just think they're going to get a certificate and that's all they need. No, that's not what you need. You need to know from literally like different scenarios. You need to know like colour matching. You need really like in depth. Like, the amount of people that I see that don't teach cutting, I'm like, you need to know how to cut. Like, it's actually crazy.
And contraindications and testing and hair testing.
It's just mental.
They have no idea.
And
normally when you learn with these kind of places, they have a partnership with one brand. So then you are stuck to that brand. And I say this to my students: you have never completed training. You never complete training. I'll never complete training. You have
always
to keep learning. Everything's evolving.
I mean, there's always going to be a new, you know, something new that's coming out, and we're like, okay, what's this now? Like, is this going to last? Is it going to be really good? You know, and it's like, it's those things. And also for us as extensionists, to make sure that we're providing our clients with the best thing that's going to be out on the latest thing. So, but going on to that, is there any like method that you think will fade out, or do you think all the methods that are out at the minute are going to last?
I think micro bonds, like the standard stick tips, because obviously you've got loads of different types of bonds, like ultra bonds, pro tips, those kind of things.
So like the micro
old
rings,
school,
the old
like
school
beauty works. I mean, do you remember like back in the day we used to just all fit like
literally? Well, it was really weird because when I moved areas, everyone around here did micro rings, and I was like, I did like bonds, like keratin bonds from where I used to live, and I was like, why does everyone here have massive rings in their head? And then like people just didn't get it.
I did it for years.
It's funny, isn't it?
And it took me hours. And
oh my God, like, I know. Massive wedges of things like sticking out people's hair.
I think also tapes. That is. Do you know what? I absolutely love doing tapes, but I think tapes need to change, and I think they are changing in terms of the tapes that you use and the removers, because putting in tapes is incredible, and they look incredible, and they feel incredible. But a few years ago, it was just that standard tape roll that never came out of the hair.
I think it's definitely changing.
And it's definitely changing.
Yeah.
And I think that old school tape is leaving.
Is leaving. 100%.
And it's evolving into some.
Definitely.
So I'm not saying tapes will go, because I think they're amazing.
Yeah, but I feel like they are definitely evolving. Like, you know, they've got these like big West things that are coming out now. Like, I've not really.
There's an evolution of tapes coming.
There is. I know, exactly. And like, I think like now, like the whole situation of like, we have to take them all out, I have to wash it all. I'm like, no.
It's the refit process.
Yeah, it is a long process. And, you know, there's all these like oil-based products, and I think, oh my God, but now, like you say, there is, I think what they've done is they've realised that maybe some extensions never use that method, because it was, especially when you're on your own and you've got no help, and you think, well, this is going to take me hours to redo. Yeah. You know, so I think now, like you said, there's definitely so much more like it's coming in the industry, and it's good that people and brands are bringing out new things rather than, you know, everyone wants something discreet. Everyone wants something that they can't see, and I think that's what's happening. Like the InvisiWefts and things like that, they're just amazing, aren't they? Like I absolutely love them.
They need more working on, definitely, InvisiWefts and NanoWefts, because there's little bits of tweaking that could be done for them to like have a better longevity.
Yeah, that's true.
And stuff like that. But they are so exciting to fit. I really do love them compared to like the old school wefts.
Yeah, like the big chunky ones that we used to do. Oh my God, I know, it's crazy. I just think, how did I get that in someone's head and it not to be seen? I don't know. So true. So the other day I seen you're doing something really exciting on your Instagram. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes. So I've been teaching now for like 8 years, and we've got students from all over the UK. Some have come from Guernsey. They've flown over, and it's been fantastic. But I've had lots of messages from places like Australia, America,
that's amazing.
Other parts of the UK where women have children and they just can't get away.
Of course.
And I just thought, I need to go online.
Yeah.
But I need to be careful, because I didn't want to go online where I would just be training anyone willy-nilly, because I think you still need that control as to what people learn. You still need that like one-to-one,
don't you?
So I've been working on filming some incredible workshops and an incredible course that is tailor-made and bespoke to people online, which I'm really excited to release. We've got lots of people on our waiting list, excited for it. And I just, and it kind of gets my like graphic design juices flowing, because I do love the online stuff and I do love the analytical stuff and all the like the geeky stuff behind it. And I want to be able to be, I want people to be able to get my education wherever they are.
Of course.
So yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment.
That's exciting.
I'm working on my online platform for lots of education, for courses, for workshops. I just want to be accessible, basically.
That's it. And I think, you know, it is so good, because people that are going online now, there's so much more of a wider audience, that people that might, like you say, can't travel to you or can't get there. So, you know, and I think when you love something that you do and you can tailor and bespoke to more of an audience and a niche, then why would you not? You know, I think it's so good that so many people are going more online now. Then obviously just doing it in person. And don't get me wrong, I get the in-person thing. Like, it's so good to just show someone how to do something right there and then. But again, like you said, you know, it's so much more. So do you think you're going to do quite a few things online, or do you think it'll just be one thing?
Yeah, there'll be quite a lot online that will kind of be like a hair extension education hub. And it will build into that, and it will be bespoke. So there will be constant mentorship along the way. So it's not like, put it in your basket, buy it, off you go. Of course. It's not going to be like that. You know, I want to see the work that they've done. I want to mentor them through it before they get their certification.
That's so important.
Whereas there are so many courses that are being sold for 50 quid, and you'll get your little MailChimp email through with your little certificate, and then you can go off and make loads of mistakes and just be riddled with anxiety.
And that's the thing. And that's it, isn't it?
And I don't want that. I don't want that for my students.
No, and that's the thing. Like, I think when you've done it yourself and you know like the hardship and things that you've gone through, you can then obviously like a cheat sheet, isn't like you don't want to, you tell them the mistakes that you've made so that they don't do it.
And that's why our courses are more money than these courses. Because you are paying for my valuable learning that I have over 15 years.
I know.
And if you can get one, yourself, I got a message the other day saying, I can get one for this amount. I was like, okay, great. Yeah. You won't get what I can give you.
Exactly.
And I know that for a fact. And that's not even being snobby or anything. It's the work that I have put into these courses. And like, say we put in so much work. Yeah. And there is years and years of expertise in these.
Definitely.
It is a no-brainer. It's not even an investment. It is literally
like a starter,
pennies compared to what you'll be able to make.
I know.
But if you take one of these smaller courses that are so cheap, you're not going to get the proper learning. You're not going to get the proper education.
That's the thing. I think sometimes people just focus on getting a certificate and then being on their way, and they just want to then think. And don't get it wrong, like, I think, you know, we all probably have had that thing of like, oh, well, that's really good, like too good to be true in this sort of sense where you don't know the journey that you're going to go on. So, you know, you buy something, you think, oh my God, that'd be amazing. I'm going to know everything about it. You're not, you know, even some of these courses that are so dated and they just talk about the structure of the hair. I'm like, okay, you don't need to know that much about the structure of the hair because really, you know, you kind of need to know the basis, but not that much in depth when actually you need to know real life scenarios and
how to build your business, how to run a business.
I mean, no one told me about that. No one, literally, like when I was like, right, okay, I'm doing my thing. I just love doing hair. And then when it comes to a business, you think, oh my God, I didn't know about email marketing, sales. And, you know, you just think, I just like to do hair and I want to do other people's hair.
Yeah.
And then you have all these other things that you think, oh my God, I have to think about that, especially nowadays, because it is so much, like you said, there's so many people out there.
I get excited to plan their logo with them and their business name and tell them how to start up, things like that. And
people's Instagrams, I'm like, let's have a look at your Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, change this, change that. Because it's, you know, it's things that you have learned and you've taken on and you think, well, those little things, they're going to get a little bit more searches or they're going to find something a little bit easier or, you know, talking about Instagram and like reels and, you know, try not to do like show yourself and what you're doing. It's all those kind of things that I would never talk.
Yeah. And we're their industry bestie. So you're going to be on your own, self-employed. You're not going to have anyone to turn to. You haven't got a staff room,
and that's
but you've got us to talk to.
And that's it.
You've got us to hold your hand. You've got us to vent to. And you've got us for that information that you need.
Exactly. And I feel like in the industry now, there's probably not that many people doing that because, you know, again, people do courses, 20 or how many people in it, and then they're on their way. And actually, you know, it's so much more than that.
100%.
Okay, so I've absolutely loved talking to you today, Emily. Honestly,
too.
I feel like it's crazy because, like I said, we've known each other for years on Instagram, but we've never actually met. I was to say thank you so much for coming up here as well in person. It's obviously been so lovely. So I will link your Instagram handle in the bio.
Yes.
So obviously everyone can see what you offer as well.
Amazing.
And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
No worries.